Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is very long overdue. I should have done this a long time ago, but today is going to be all about my face makeup routine or my foundation routine, where I'm going to go through every single step in my daily face routine, from moisturizer to bronzer to highlight to foundation, everything you guys need to know. But I do want to go ahead and give you guys a disclaimer that there are very few days where I use the same products 2 consecutive days in a row. So I have my favorites, I have my go-to holy grail products, but there are always new things coming into the mix. Pretty much everything I use almost is drugstore, so this is pretty much a drugstore only foundation routine. But without further ado, here is my updated foundation routine. So first off, I do have oily skin, but as I always say, it's very mildly oily. I don't have a shine problem or getting oily throughout the day or anything like that. I do moisturize in the morning, I moisturize at night, and I think that's really the biggest reason why my skin is not super oily, because I'm giving it moisture so it's not overproducing oil. Second thing I want to point out is that everything works differently for everyone. The first thing I do is moisturize. I don't care what kind of skin you have, whether you're oily, dry, normal, combo, whatever the case may be, you have to moisturize your skin. This is not only going to prevent premature wrinkles, but it's also going to keep your makeup on a lot longer. And if you're oily, like I said, it's going to keep the oil at bay. I will say I haven't really found like my holy grail favorite moisturizer. I will say the one that's probably stood out the most to me, and it probably is my favorite, I just haven't repurchased it yet, is the Garnier, what is it called? I think it's called Moisture Rescue gel or something like that. Whatever it is, it's a gel moisturizer, and it says it's for combination to oily skin. It's in a little green jar. The ones I have on hand right now is the Formula 10.0.6 Seriously Shine Free Mattifying Oil Free Moisturizer. This is amazing if you have oily skin. I just basically massage this all over my face. I do use a very heavy amount because you can never over moisturize your skin. After that sinks in, I go in with a face primer. Face primer is so important. There's some people that say that it doesn't work for them, but it is definitely a necessity for me. My favorite primer to date, it's technically not a primer, but this is the Nivea Men Sensitive Post Shave Balm. Another thing people say is that you should apply just to the areas where you have like problem areas, like the areas where you have a problem with keeping your makeup on. I think that's kind of stupid, because I apply primer for one because I want to start out with a smooth base and just to even everything out. And if you're only applying it to certain areas, I don't see how that really works for that. So I apply it all over my face. I blend it down to my neck. Next, I go in with foundation, but I do let my primer set. So I've tried so many foundations, and I can really give you some recommendations. I can make an entire video over like foundation recommendations, and like if you guys want to see like a foundation collection video or my favorite foundations, let me know in the comments below. I will be glad to do that. The e.l.f. Acne Fighting Foundation is probably my favorite ever. I haven't tried a foundation quite like this, especially from the drugstore. I also love the Rimmel Stay Matte Liquid Mousse Foundation, the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow, and this L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow foundation is very glowy and very dewy. I do mix this foundation with one of these other ones, and that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to mix the L'Oreal Infallible Pro Glow with, we'll say, the Rimmel Stay Matte foundation. I just mix it with my finger, and my favorite tools are obviously the Beauty Blender. This is a little bit dirty. I did wash it, but I didn't try very hard. But my favorite brush ever is the Morphe MB5 brush. So this is basically a really large stippling brush. Sometimes I'll just pick up product from the back of my hand, and sometimes I will just kind of smear it on with my finger just to warm up the product. And I'm going to use the Morphe MB5 brush. I'm going to go in with my Beauty Blender now, just to really press it into my skin. Usually I do apply it with a Beauty Blender. It just depends on the foundation and the consistency. And if I need a little extra coverage, instead of going in with a concealer on top of my foundation, I just go in with a denser packed brush and just stipple it on. You can get some extra product on there. I don't use an extra concealer for like my blemishes or my acne or anything. I just feel like that's just way too much product. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I like to find foundations that give me full coverage to where I don't have to use so much extra product. I can just use the foundation itself. So as you can see, hopefully it covered this up completely. This is the Morphe G3 brush. You can use anything. So now I go in with an under eye concealer, and I always try to find something at least 2 shades lighter than my skin, just so it brightens and conceals at the same time. But I would say my favorite is the Maybelline Fit Me. It just never does me wrong. So I just go underneath my eyes like this. I'm going to do the upside down triangle just because it shows you guys better what I'm actually like thinking in my head, like what I want. I'm going to be honest, usually I just do that. but I just bounce and stipple this around. But yeah, I basically just come down to the end of my nose right here and bring it upwards. And then with whatever's left over on my sponge, I'm just going to go on my chin, my cupid's bow, down the bridge of my nose, and then a little bit in the center of my forehead right here, like in between my brows, just so that my, like, the entire center of my face is brightened. I don't want just brightness underneath my eyes because that's just not going to look very balanced. I usually always let everything sit before I powder just because I don't like for the foundation and concealer to be tacky when I powder it, but ain't nobody got time for that. So for under my eyes, my favorite powder is the NYX HD Finishing Powder in the shade Banana, and it really brightens. And then I love the Physicians Formula Argan Wear Ultra Nourishing Argan Oil Powder in Translucent. I never use skin tone powders because that's just packing on too much product. I just personally feel like that's what's going to get you closer to cake face, and that's what we're trying to avoid in all of this. So I'm going to go in with the NYX HD Finishing Powder first and just set under my eyes and pretty much anywhere else that I want to be brighter, so pretty much the center of my face. And then I'm going to use the Physicians Formula powder for setting the rest of my face. You just want to stipple and dab this on and press it into your skin. The next thing that I always do is bronzer. Bronzer is so important. It's going to give you dimension. Right now, as you can see, my face just looks flat. It looks one single color, and that's not what our face looks like naturally. So we want to put some more dimension back into our face. And if you apply it the right way in the right areas, you can actually get the effect of contouring. And I'm not saying to like contour the bronzers because that just won't work out well. It'll make you look very muddy. The Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer is probably my favorite. And then this is one that never gets talked about. This is the Real Color Stay Glowing Long Wear Bronzer in the shade Malibu Glow. You can get this at Sally's. This is an amazing bronzer. It's such a beautiful tone. I'm just going to use the Real Color Stay Glow Long Wearing Bronzer. Most people apply bronzer all over their face and down their neck as if it's like a setting powder or something. I don't do it like that at all. So I start back here at the hairline, right on top of the hollows of my cheeks, and the hollows is where you're going to contour, so I'm pretty much putting it right there where I contour. As you can see, I've barely done anything and there's already so much more dimension on this side of my face. So once I have the amount I want there, I just roll it up to my forehead, getting the sides of my temples right there and going along my hairline, and then I come back down and I come back to my jawline, just whatever's left over on my brush on the sides of my nose and the tip of it. So again, just starting at the hollows of my cheeks and working it upward. I don't get this area right here at all. I'll leave this completely free of color because that's what's going to give you depth and dimension. So now that we are looking a little bit more alive, it's time to go in with blush. My favorite blush probably of all time is the Milani Baked Blush in the shade Dolce Pink. So I'll just start out on the apples of my cheeks and then I'll work it back, keeping it above the bronzer. And I kind of do this little face right here, just to really poof out my cheeks. So now it's time for my favorite part of this entire process, highlighter. So my absolute favorite highlighter of all time, and I think it's limited edition, I'm not sure if it's still out. This is the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighter Powder in the shade Precious Petals. The most beautiful, glowy, dewy, sheeny highlighter ever. It has no shimmer in it, so it's not going to emphasize texture or pores or anything. I love it. And then I also love the Hard Candy Tiki Bronzer. This is technically called the So Baked Bronzer. I'm going to use the Hard Candy Tiki Bronzer today. So I'm just going to get a lot of this on my brush. And then I'm just going to put this right on top of my cheekbones, right here. I'll also go on my Cupid's bow right above my lip, just to make your lips look a little bit more pouty and a little bit bigger. And then sometimes I'll put some down the bridge of my nose just to make it balanced. So look at that. Now is one of the most important steps, I think, to ensure that you don't get cakey or powdery looking throughout the day. Setting spray is amazing. This is the Cinema Secrets Moisture Spray. You can get this on camerareadycosmetics.com. It completely gets rid of any powderiness or cakiness on your skin. Get your damp sponge ready. You're going to go ahead and spray this all over your face. I drench myself in this, guys. I use so much. And then you're going to take your damp sponge and you're just going to press this into your skin. So I'm doing this while my face is wet, just to really lock that moisture spray in there, or setting spray, whatever you decide to use. It's also going to kind of blur all the lines that you have, so you're not going to see where your blush and your highlight and your bronzer start or stop. It's all just going to blend in seamlessly and just look very flawless. And if you have large pores, this also kind of helps with that just a little bit. You don't have to apply the setting spray to do this. You can do this before setting spray, just whenever you're done with your entire face. But I will leave all the products that I used and talked about in the description box below. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. Thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe, follow me on all my social media. All the links are below. And I hope you guys have an absolutely beautiful day. Mwah!